Hi, I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Steins Gate 0, Season 1, Episode 10. Last episode, I got a little worried about Maho.
What are you hiding, Maho? What are you hiding?
I don't think Maho is malicious in any, regard, but I think Maho might be making decisions right now that might not be the best for her own personal safety.
The personal safety of a lot of people, not just herself, but she doesn't necessarily grasp the seriousness of that situation.
But she also doesn't know or isn't privy to what the rest of the crew have already been through and are capable of, specifically Okabe.
And who she can truly trust.
Yep. I over the course of the past week, I have been here and there rewatching a couple of episodes of original Steins Gate just because at my free time at 10 p.m. at night, and I love this series. I love it so much, and I am very excited to get back into Steins Gate 0.
Me too.
Ready?
Yeah.
Sweet. You think this is Maho's? Yeah.
Yeah, this is Maho's room. Not really her room. She's kind of freeloading right now.
Best healing collection.
One is you and one is her.
Ah. Yeah, that's true. Is that the laptop, you think? ... Okay.
What if something's different? User ID. You too. Like, as if she's real and she's in the room.
I love that Moeka's just chilling.
Look at all the monsters.
Cosplay?
Definitely. That person? Oh, stop! I believe it. I love that Naya has more of a role now that Mr. Braun isn't a villain.
Jesus, Naya.
She should be yelling at Maho. Why are you here? You know, you don't even have to ask.
Mr. Smiley Bear. What is happening?
Little slip.
Interesting. Okay.
あの子ならやりかねない。アントニオ・サリエリ。アマデウス・モーツァルトではされた男。知ってる？
Life was thrown into chaos.
聞いたことがある。
音楽家としての成功をモーツァルトの才能に嫉妬し、絶望してしまう。彼を追い詰め、死に追いやってしまうの。
It's like she still wants to pick the brain of Kurisu, get into that laptop, into the brilliance.
本気でそう思っているわけじゃない。ただ、岡部さん、
久しぶりだな。
お変わりないようで。
もな。
当たり前でしょ？ AI なんだから。
Who's she dropping it off to? I'm
Someone
assuming
that can
Judy,
hack
maybe.
into it. No, but what if it's like someone who can hack into it because she hasn't been able to?
お掃除軍曹は体力を消耗するのです。
天王寺さんの渾身の右ストレート。はあはあ。こいつ完全に訓練。
じゃあ、
Dara's going too far.
があったら連絡してね。わかったわ。
だからその名前で呼ぶな。
帰り一緒に買いに行こうって。今日は男子禁制。
PJs, cute pajamas. We're having a
Sleepover.
slumber party.
今日行われる作戦は夜更かしシンデレラたちの秘密のオフ会。
She picked these out, did she not?
だから何でもニャンニャン。その呼び方
I don't think Moeka would be comfortable like that.
おいニャンがやめて。すっごいおっぱいニャン。これをなんか変な気持ちになる。
What is happening?
何を書いているの？メモ。小説の。小説？
She's writing a novel.
私は優秀じゃないか。
I like the idea that she's like concentrating her energy into something that could be really healthy for her.
自分は自分を卑下して代わりがいるとか、自分を誰か感を抱き続けるとか。
Like projection.
そんなのは
Yeah. Ferris is like the female Daru, and I never realized it.
この牙美術品みたいに美しい。
This is me in Micro Center.
you see a micro center, you're like, can we go?
なんでこんなものがここに？ルマニウムラジオなんかも？ハンダ付けでよく火傷したもの。みんな同じなんですね。本当。
たちだけだと思うぞ。
Peas in a pod.
今日は時間あるんでしょ？もう少し付き合って。
Classic date activity.
チャンネルのキャラか。
At channel characters.
クリスがベッドルームに置いていたのよ。
Oh.
クリスがついていたのか。
先輩、その話は何の話かしら。
Right, yes.
ヌルポ。
岡部。
自業自得だ。
ちょっと挑戦してもいいかしら。なんでそんな奇跡的な動きをするの？ってことよね。両替してくる。
Maho's a gambler.
死亡フラグ。
ここは男を見せるところよ。岡部さん。よし、これだけあれば。
Yep.
店員さんが来てな、あげるよ。
いいの？
俺が持っててもしょうがないし。
ああ、遠慮なく。
Not saying that he spent change to win it for her.
そんなに気に入ってたのか？
クリスのベッドルームに飾ることにしたんだけど、で燃えちゃったから。
そんなことが。
これはクリスのお母さんにプレゼントしたいの。
もちろん、それがいい。
Amadeus is like the ultimate wingman.
しても訪れておきたいところがあるの。アメリカに帰る前に。
Where it happened. She wants to see where it happened.
マキセ・クリスが命最後の場所。嫌なら場所だけ教えて。
いや。
ずいぶん静かなのね。
ああ、テンポがだいぶ映ってるんだ。ここもあまり使われていない。
It feels so wild being here.
こっちだ。この中だ。
そう、こんな場所で。
I don't like that the door's closed.
I have weird feelings right now. I'm a little nervous.
私は物理学者ではないから、相対性理論のことを詳細に理解しているわけでは。時間と空間が同列なら、同じように時間も自分の意思で移動できないのかしらね。空間的にはクリスの死と同じ軸上にいるのよ。軸がほんの少しずれているせいで。 手出し
Can
すること
stop it from happening.
手出しはできない。たとえ同じ時間軸に戻れたとしても変えることはできない。
どうしてそう言い切れるの？
そう、クリスと話した。
そう。
クリスと。
岡部さん。岡部さん。私こそデリカシーのないことをしたわ。でクリスのことを。
いや、気にしない。
本当にセミナーで知り合っただけなの。あなたとクリスの話をしていると思うの。2ヶ月。いえ、それ以上前から知り合ったような話し方だ。なぜそこまでクリスのことを。
俺はクリスを。すまない。
に話せない何かがあることは分かった。それで
比叡城さん。
あなたを見るたびにずっと思っていた。どうしていつも寂しそうなんだろうって。クリスの話をする時もそう。みんなと話していると後悔していて、何かにずっと抗っているようで、まゆりさんや私のことも懸命に何かから守ろうとしているよ
Protect
ね。
us from something.
そしたら実際に襲撃されたりして。
そんな風に思っていたのか。
ええ、全てを今話してほしいとは思わない。その気持ちに力になりたいと思う。誰にも言わないと心に決めていたけど、私ね、は持っているの。
The paper.
クリスの遺産を。
クリスの。
But someone's picking it up.
彼女の研究データを、プライベートなことも記録してある。彼女のパソコン、デルに入った賊の狙いもおそらくそれよ。わからなくてね。今、信頼できる。
Who's the trustworthy source?
Uh-oh.
そのパソコンはパンドラの箱だ。データは世界を滅亡へと導く最悪だ。巡ってアメリカとロシアで争いになっているって。いるであろうデータは両国が最も欲しがっているものだ。大戦の引き金となるものなんだ。
世界大戦。
I feel like now
I can't not go on.
I feel like you have to say a little
You have
more.
to tell everything now. It's past the point of keeping anything secret.
Okay, that was episode 10 of Steins Gate 0. So, regarding the laptop, retrieving from locker tonight, we'll contact again once analysis is complete. And the trusted source seems to be identified as Dash, D-A-S-H.
It's very Moeka-ish. It reminds me of how the CERN,
FB,
how they operate and the language they use. And when we contacted Moeka to work with her, there was a similar kind of exchange of information. Not really a super personal connection with this person. They're a spy almost.
Yeah,
it's worrisome.
I can't think of anything that's a great guess of what it could mean right now.
Right. We have no clue of knowing exactly who would be the which side would be the one that would possibly be influencing this person that is retrieving from the locker. Because yes, we can think the Americans want to catch up to wherever Russia is in their time machine work because of the paper. But I'm sure Russia has had the realization of, oh, if your daughter or you wrote this paper, where else might be lingering fragments of this paper that someone could get access to? If a paper is printed and handed to you, you know it's written somewhere on a laptop or a computer somewhere. So I'm not surprised if the Russians had not thought of trying to retrieve any ounce of it from anywhere.
So, obviously, I believe Karisu's dad is in Russia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my first thought that, came to me after the trustworthy source analyzed it is the thought that Maho wouldn't know who Karisu's killer was. And if that's the case...
Because it's not public knowledge,
of course that the most trusted source for Karisu's thing would be her dad, himself. But I believe he's in Russia.
Yeah, but that would also bring into question how close Maho and Kurisu actually were on
we heard about
level.
Kurisu's mom and gifting something to his
that's very fair. That's great evidence that it could be through contacting her dad. And I just mean to bring up the sore subject of Kurisu's relationship with her father, that some friend, if they knew the personal issues there, might not reach out to the father by knowing those personal issues.
But it took so long, like, and so much for Kurisu to be able to talk about it the way that she did to Okabe. So it's like, because of that, I wouldn't be surprised if it was never really brought up in specific detail to Maho.
Honestly, we could even, with your evidence from bringing up the mother in this episode, what if Maho, speaking to the mother, finding out about this fire that happened? When did this fire happen? Question one. Did it happen before Maho's room was gone through? Did they originally go to Kurisu's house where her mother lived to try to find the laptop?
Then what, lit it on fire?
And then lit it on fire to cover up their tracks? That's a possibility here. But if we're talking to Kurisu's mother could be like, oh, Kurisu's laptop? I don't really know much about computers or science. Her dad might know how to get into it or might know someone that can get into it. So you're right to bring that up as evidence that maybe the father was contacted and gave a person, a source to go to, a person to go to for help with this. Yeah,
I am not too, like, I'm not, like, 100% confident by any means, though, because, like, it could literally be anybody.
How do you feel about the fire, though?
The context that it was brought up in,
it was so quick, like, we should have known it.
It almost made me feel like I'm stupid and missed something and forget it being alluded to or talked about last episode or another episode. Because, like, it was like, oh, it happened in the fire. And I don't know if, the most likely, option is that I'm being stupid right now and forget something. But if that isn't the case, just for a second to entertain it, it might be something... It might have come across that way maybe because Maho would have assumed that since Okabe and Kurisu were so close that he would have heard about the fire or, you know, I don't know.
Or maybe she would have thought that she'd brought it up before.
Yeah.
Or maybe like AI Kurisu brought it up. I don't remember hearing about it. And like you said, could just be blanking completely on something that we've already heard.
Yeah.
But because of everything else that is being said and happening in this episode, I'm just currently going to file it under evidence more so that they've already been trying to find this laptop before the events that we've seen actually visually shown to us in the anime.
I don't know. I thought that the @channel stuffed animal was really cute. In general,
no, definitely very cute. Another thing to add in really quick. We are surprised that Judy Reyes is here.
Yeah.
And so and then right after she arrives is basically a couple days later, the attack happens.
Yeah.
So it could be that, oh, you weren't supposed to be here. Oh, but we looked for the laptop at her family's house and it wasn't there. So now we have to come to the next place she was. Maybe she took it with her to Japan. I need an excuse for being here. Now she is here.
I want to say that we first even heard about Sarieli until...
we got mention of Mozart and Amadeus by looking at the Wikipedia page.
Yeah. When I'm thinking about... like the Dash persona, you know, I'm like, oh, Daru, Amane, Suzuha, Salieri.
Okay, so we are still in the night. We're in like what, dusk time currently, if we were to think about what time the episode ends.
Mm-hmm.
I know the building is very dark, and I'm trying to remember exactly what it was like outside before they entered the radio building, but it seems like it was dusk time. It was more towards the end of the day. The sun was setting. The person is supposed to be getting the laptop later tonight. We could still have time to either get there and get it after the news being broken to Maho at the end here, or to possibly chase down and find out who is going to be getting the laptop, which is a wonderful opportunity to find out which of our supposed allies or characters we already know in the cast is an enemy.
Yeah.
It's the perfect opportunity to unmask Scooby-Doo style which one of our friends isn't our friend.
Seeing them, Maho and Okabe, in the stairwell there reminded me of that scene from Steins Gate when Kurisu and Okabe were in the stairwell after it rained, or a different stairwell, I believe. But and Kurisu noticed Okabe's like rip in his lab coat and stitched it with the pink stitching.
And
then,
oh, you won't know what color I did because it's so dark in here.
And immediately after that plot point, we get Okabe pressing the enter key, which changes the world lines, and then that brings about Kurisu barging in, which we just had more, information told to us about a couple episodes back, which I thought is like chronologically an interesting, through point.
I want to talk about where we were with Maho before this episode started, and then how we feel about the actions here now.
Yeah.
I think that my opinions and feelings have changed slightly. I never thought she was a villain or was going to purposefully hide big information that she knew was vitally important.
Yeah.
I just figured the hesitation was coming from either a more jealousy place over this relationship that she wishes she possibly had with Kurisu, or this Mozart kind of idea that we're getting more heavy in this episode. But now, from what we see towards the end of the episode, it's seemingly like her logical thinking was, why would I offer to him this laptop of possibility if we can't even get into it? I need something concrete, evident. I need it to be open and ready before I bring it to the table.
Yeah.
I could see that being a logical, let's get it open, let's see if there's anything even there. And so that way when I bring it up to him, I can just be like, see, look.
I'd say that it's that, as well as the idea of how close, because there were a lot of assumptions that Maho was making based off of Okabe's reactions to things and how he was talking about Kurisu. But I think that this by far was Maho's biggest piece of evidence of how close they really were, right?
Mm-hmm.
And treading along the waters of okay, I won't ask you to tell me about it anymore. I understand that you guys were close and it's something that you don't want to relive right now.
I wonder if she thought that she would be getting something. She might have been on the fence of whether she was going to tell him about the laptop and the fact that she was going to get into it. And maybe she decided in this radio building scene and event, she got something out of it that maybe she wished to witness. And so she decides to talk to him about it here.
Yeah.
Because it does seem like she comes to some amount of understanding that she is comfortable with the fact that she might not ever understand, and she doesn't want to press him, but she trusts that he had a very close bond with her, and she's not going to deny that or doubt that anymore.
I think seeing how extreme the reaction was once Okabe ran away and she turned that corner and saw how in despair he was, I think that was the switch of that's not faking it. That's...
So how much of this was Maho really wanted to see it, and how much was it, I'm going to test Okabe before I tell him about the laptop?
I think she really wanted to see it.
I think it's definitely, it's you wanted this thing, but you could also get something else out of it.
I mean, what was the language that she used as well? Before I go back to America, this is what I want, which is kind of interesting language to bring up, because in my mind I was kind of in this disbelief in regards to Maho planning on going back to America anytime soon.
I think that's very timeline wise, it seems like we're getting squeezed.
Yeah.
Everything is going to be intensely happening in a very quick succession. We could even get a Maho's plane ticket is for tomorrow. All of this shit is happening. She decides not to get on the plane, do you think the idea of world lines swapping again without Okabe's
doing it might happen again? It's almost seeing how this played out and seeing how Maho revealed that information to Okabe is something that I could see trying to come at from a restarted point.
So I could see that, but I don't know if I could see that world line having Kurisu alive.
Yeah.
I think that with the choice here to have him re-download Amadeus on his phone, I don't know if I could necessarily see him going back and having another conversation with Kurisu about Amadeus.
Yeah.
After that kind of idea that she was like, don't get too close to it.
Yeah, I get you. I just that's such an interesting part of Steins Gate Zero that I really didn't expect, is that somebody else could fuck around with time travel and Okabe could be changing world lines again without any, choice by him. And
they
now
might not be overly testing it. We have to believe that it was Russia that had the world lines switch like that.
Yeah.
And so they probably don't want to overly test it just in case some other organization is able to, as CERN was for us, deduce what we were doing.
Yeah.
So they might not wanting to be overdoing the world line switches. They tested it out. Maybe they're going to spend a lengthy amount of time trying to understand how that worked, what happened to the world, did anyone notice, are there any radar blips of people noticing? Because they don't want other countries to necessarily realize what they're up to and be trying to catch up to them.
Yeah, that's true as well. So do you think that we're going to see Kurisu's dad be brought forth back into the story?
I mean, I guess it could be evidence if we're talking about the mother and we're talking about Russia a lot and the laptop of Kurisu's, and we're at the place where she died. It could happen. I don't know what that would be like other than very traumatic and hard on Okabe, but like what else in the show isn't horribly traumatic for him? So if it did happen, it would definitely do a job at being really hard to watch.
It's so interesting because, like, in episode 7, when Okabe changes world lines after picking up the phone and hearing Amadeus, and that's the trigger, like, I know we hear about, like, the earthquakes in Russia, but if we're trying to connect it to, like, the laptop, unless it is Kurisu's dad, I wouldn't expect Maho to have their trusted source be anybody from Russia. I would think it'd be America. And if it was America, then how would America already have time to like get the laptop and then utilize the data on there to complete a time machine that would cause reading Steiner?
It doesn't have to be anything to do with Russia, though. Because Maho would have reached out to Kurisu's father, who is not Russian.
But he went to Russia.
So? People go on work trips places. She's in Japan on a work trip, technically, with Amadeus for, like, there's AI conventions that apparently Judy Reyes came for. People travel to to go to seminars, present their work, talk to other scientists. It doesn't have to seem nefarious at all that her father is in that specific country.
You're right. I don't really know where we're going then.
I just think that this ending that they gave us is incredibly hard to pause on and not just immediately watch, because I want to see so bad telling Maho everything.
Yeah.
I want to see it so bad.
Well, okay, so
especially with like relating them to two peas in a pod like we did in this episode.
Yeah. Just so I'm clear, like, there was no time that passed in between Okabe switching world lines and then coming back to this world line, right? Like, it was like, oh, when he picked up the phone and heard Amadeus and then switched world lines, and then after he went back and woke up in the hospital and they're talking about how he just collapsed like that. Did he collapse right then?
I think that they said that later that night he had, but then we get this idea that the hospital was closed for the holiday, and so now they're just now getting to visit them.
Yeah.
And so whatever amount of time he spent in that other world line, I believe also passed in this line, which I would say is probably either a weekend or a couple days.
So then it'd have nothing to do with the laptop in general, right? Because it hadn't happened yet. The placing it in the locker.
Placing it in the locker hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, sorry. My regular Steins Gate, like, rewatch, I think, is like, I'm like, oh, shit. Like,
Maybe you shouldn't be rewatching Steins Gate
I
right
won't
now.
be anymore. I won't be. But
all your world lines are just gonna be all mixed up.
I will wait until we finish Steins Gate 0 again.
It's probably
But
smart
because I
choice.
was like, for a second, I was like,
You're making up world lines now. You're like, in one of them, Maho puts the laptop in a garbage bin instead of a locker, and
I'm trying. Okay. Well, one thing I'm sure that actually happened was Ferris and Moeka
that
having
didn't
a
happen.
moment.
No, that's Steins Gate.
Yeah.
That didn't actually happen.
Oh my god.
What even?
I can't I was like, what the fuck?
When you were like that Ferris is the Daru, I was like, that's the whole reason that this was her dream, was to have this place have cute like cat girl cafes and stuff. It's just because she wanted to dress up cute and she wanted to see other girls dressed up cute.
Yeah.
Also, she definitely picked out these two outfits for them.
Oh, without a doubt.
I feel so bad for Moeka right now. She is being like way too overly sexualized by Ferris right now, because that underwear that she's wearing underneath the top part would not be comfortable to just sit around with your friends. Maho has this like cute panda bear onesie. Ferris even has like a long sleep dress.
I'm assuming Mayuri didn't stay because she had to take Nai home.
Probably. But also, what would she have been forced to wear? And would the competition have been between the two, between Moeka and Mayuri?
I think it would have been more in line with like what Moeka was given to wear rather than what Maho was, just based off of lore. I don't know how I felt about the Daru Nai thing either. I was like, whoa, what the fuck?
I was like, who said something creepy?
Yeah.
And we're like, the only person in the room who we thought at the time would have said something creepy. But then Ferris was like, I'm going to one-up Daru here, and I'm going to physically do something.
I absolutely, liked and loved Maho and Karisu's interaction in, the flashback in regards to Mozart, and then coming into the room with Professor Leskinen. I love him so much. He almost reminds me of Okabe.
I don't want him to be bad. If anything, I want him to be naive to Judy Reyes.
I think I'm starting to be, like after this episode, I'm convincing myself that he isn't as suspicious as I thought.
I want to imagine that he is this naive, bumbling professor that has been coerced by this evil Judy Reyes.
Yeah.
Who is even maybe flirting with him in order to
get... How does Amane come into the situation,
I don't know. I don't know if that was a fake out.
There's no way.
Injury. What if it was, though? What if that was a total fake out just to get us to feel weird because she wasn't there? And
that'd be such a wild fake out. Because it's, immediately after the same arm,
But then it would also lend well that how else would we get... in one of the world lines, would Mayuri get, why am I blanking? Her daughter.
Who?
Her daughter, Mayuri's daughter.
Kaguri?
Kaguri!
Yeah.
There has to be a way and connection for us to get Kaguri, and if Amane is working for the people who possibly made Kaguri or know about Kaguri, wouldn't that make sense that in the future she kidnaps Kaguri and then Mayuri races her? Something like that. They're connected. And
there's that extra connection of Mayuri, because Daru is obviously very close to Mayuri.
Mm-hmm. So there's that. I want to currently. I think I trust Professor Leskinen because he just seems like. At first, I thought they were giving us this act of him being a somewhat kind of goofball. Not truly understand. I don't know. Just his character was kind of an oddball, and we had the translation differences, and he just had this kind of quirky personality that I was like, is this really truly just an act so he seems like an innocent? But at the moment, I'm kind of I think it's not an act, especially with I want to believe that, especially after him being so happy by how Maho and Kurisu were interacting again.
Yeah. I had a funny thought when we were watching the sleepover scene when Ferris left the room and Maho was talking about like kind of going at Moeka about the way that she was thinking about herself, because Moeka is
I
writing
wanted
a
to talk about
novel,
that scene
and
too.
when that was happening, and then Maho stopped herself because what I assumed to be like seeing the realization how that's a similar
Yeah.
thing that she herself's doing. I'm like, what if Moeka was like, this is like mind blowing and mind opening to me and really helping me, and then Maho just shuts up like halfway through it.
I was actually really wanting to talk about this scene because how happy I am to find out that Moeka, even though she's self-deprecating and feels unworthy, there's a glimpse of some actual positive and healthy passion that she has in her life.
Yeah.
That she wishes she could do, and that she even wishes she could do, to the fact that she has a notebook. She's not typing a text on her phone about this. This is like some cute, I want to write a novel shit.
Yeah.
Where she has this little black book in her pocket with a little pet. Well, she doesn't have a pocket right now because she's in lingerie. I don't know where she pulled that book out from, but it is very
It was the bag,
cute.
I think.
And okay. Oh right, yes, there
Yeah.
was a bag. I was like trying to think about it for a second. I was like, there's no pockets in lingerie. Okay, there should be pockets in lingerie. There should be for all your little books and your pens. But anyway, I really liked that she, in this world line, is being given more of a chance to be known by the audience and more of a chance to possibly have a positive and healthy future, in the same way that Mr. Braun is maybe being given a chance with that too in this world line. And it makes me really happy, especially for Moeka, because we saw her in a position that I would never want to see her in again, from Steins Gate, where she feels like she has nothing without this person, this mother-like figure of FB telling her what to do. She has no autonomy, no will to live. She is completely subservient to this FB, to the fact that it's like she needs this attention and affection almost from FB. And it was such a hard thing to watch. And so to see that this is a Moeka that is exactly what Okabe wanted. He wanted a world where Moeka could have really truly been a lab member and not been spying on them as a lab member.
And that's what happens, right?
And just getting this glimpse of her having a possible future career if CERN were to disband, and how Mr. Braun and Okabe are coming to more of an actual personal knowledge understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Mayuri's still alive in this world line, which is good for Nay. So.
I feel like I need to go clean now.
Oh yeah, Sergeant Clean needs to come to. I don't need to be yelled at like that to clean. I just yell at myself enough internally, and I'm super mean to myself internally enough that it becomes a motivator.
You're your own Sergeant Clean.
I am my own horribly mean Sergeant Clean.
Alright, that's all I have you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.